Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido, and today we're coming to you from Viridian City, where the Magma are hosting the Mahogany Explorers, and the Magma are off to a great start this season as they are currently sitting in 3rd place and they're trying to get themselves to the top of the leaderboard, and to do so they have to take down the Ice types who they have never defeated before. But the Explorers are currently lost 2 games this season as they're trying to get back to that Champions game. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the ground types? Will it be the ice types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And it is going to be the Snowrunt duo of Frostlass and Glalie starting out for the Explorers, as it is the sand attack onto Quagsire from Frostlass, as it's the Dark Void follow-up from Glalie, but there is this Dark Presence preventing that from being able to happen, and Quagsire being joined by Mudsdale goes for the speed swap, very intelligently focusing onto Frostlass there so it can take speed control, and Mudsdale with the follow-up leafage there onto the Park Ghost type, getting that critical play, as well as Quagsire now with that speed control goes for the Sludge Bomb follow-up, which is not very effective but gets in some good damage, as Glalie is going to respond by splashing about on the field and nothing is going to happen. So Frostlass, having to do the heavy lifting, goes with the Side Blade onto Mudsdale, getting some good damage there onto this highly physical Pokemon that does respond with the Moonlight to immediately restore itself back to full strength, basking in that moonlight. And Quagsire with that follow-up Zap Cannon, which is going to be avoided by Frostlass, allowing Glalie to go with the Stuffed Cheeks. It is going to chow down on its Leopard Berry, as all 4 starting Pokemon in the PTL VGC do hold on to Leopard Berries. Frostlass now with the follow-up going with that Drill Peck, switching their attention to Quagsire, and Mudsdale with the response goes for the Scald onto the Ice Ghost type and leaves it with that burn as well that is going to cut away at its health, as we see Frostlass melting away now in knockout range, and Quagsire could capitalize here, but it goes for a Scald of its own onto Glalie and also gets the burn onto Glalie. Both Glalie and Frostlass now having that burn to contend with, and it's the Leaf Storm from Glalie that is avoided by Quagsire. You have to think that would have taken it out of this matchup, as the spin out from Frostlass on to Mudsdale gets in some good damage there, but it is going to greatly lower that speed of the burnt Frostlass, and we'll get the Mach Punch from Mudsdale, but it phases straight through the Park Ghost type, and there it is, that burn melting away here at both Glalie and Frostlass after those 2 Scalds from the ground types down there on the field. Quagsire now going with the bulk up, and it is going to boost that physical attack as well as that physical defense that are both base 85. And we get Glalie responding though with the Flip Turn. Doesn't do that much damage there to Quagsire, but it is going to go back to the bench, and out in Glalie's place it is Frostlass for the Mahogany Explorers. Mudsdale setting up the light screen on the side of the Viridian Magma, making them stronger against physical moves, and Frostlass goes for the burn up, but it is burnt. It is not a part fire type, so that is going to fail, and there is that burn, and it is still holding on, but it is such an easy target right now. Quagsire could take it out. It goes for the Spatial Rend, but that is avoided by Frostlass, allowing Frostmoth to go with the Strength side, cutting into that 125 base physical attack of Mudsdale there, who does respond with the dive. That giant Pokemon is going to hide underwater. That is a deep pool, as Frostlass going with the Terrain Pulse does focus in onto Quagsire. They're getting some good chip damage, but the burn is finally going to melt Frostlass away from this field, and we have our first elimination on the board being taken from the Explorers, as Glalie does return to the match. Quagsire going with the Air Cutter, connecting with both Ice types. It is super effective on Frostmoth, thanks to its part bug typing, and Glalie responds with the Coaching, trying to help out its teammate here. It is going to boost those physical stats, both that attack and defense. And Frostmoth with the follow-up is going to go for the rest, so it is going to restore itself back to full strength, but is also going to put itself to sleep. So Glalie needs to go on the offensive here and help out its teammate whilst it is resting there on the field, but it is on the receiving end of the dive that puts Glalie into knockout range, and there is that burn melting away at Glalie just like it did Frostlass. And Quagsire goes for the rock slide to complete the huge play, getting that critical hit as well onto Glalie for good measure, taking it out of the match as well as taking Frostmoth out of this match, and the entire complexion has changed as Mudsdale sets up for a Solar Beam. It is going to absorb the light. There is 3 eliminations on the side of the Explorers, none on the side of the Magma. We have Arctivax coming out onto the field, being joined by Ice Cube. Quagsire still with the speed control, sets up the Future Sight, focusing in onto Arctivax here, who has had that attack foreseen on it, but it is going to respond with the Vine Whip, and Quagsire hangs on by a thread from that quad super effective move. The electric terrain being set up here by Ice Cube, and that electric current is going to run over the field, but I do not think the Magma are going to mind whatsoever. They are immune to electric type moves, and the Solar Beam is finished off by Mudsdale onto Ice Cube there. And that light screen does wear off for the Viridian Magma as Quagsire with the follow-up going with the Energy Ball, which is avoided by Ice Cube, opening the door for Arctivax to capitalize, going with the coaching. We saw this earlier. It is going to boost those physical stats now of Ice Cube, including that 110 base defense that it has in this Ice Face form. It goes with the Power Gem onto Mudsdale, getting some not very effective damage there as Mudsdale is going to respond with the Coil. And in doing so, it is going to reboost that physical attack as well as boosting that 100 base defense. It does boost its accuracy as well, so we'll see if it can capitalize as Quagsire going and with the Iron Defense, boosting its own physical defense here a great deal as well, but it doesn't have much defense to work with. Arctivax could go for the easy elimination. It goes with the Smog, but Quagsire actually hangs on from that not very effective move. It is such an easy target. We get the Amnesia from Ice Cube. It is going to boost that special defense a great deal, but Mudsdale looking to respond, going with the double hit onto Arctivax. It gets that first connection, following up with that second connection for some good damage there, but Quagsire is still hanging on here by a thread, and that Future Sight connects. Great damage there onto Arctivax, who is going to chow down on its berry that is going to restore its health as it was holding that citrus berry in this match. Quagsire though goes for the Aqua Step, and once again this is avoided by Arctivax, this time allowing Arctivax to go with the Nuzzle, but that is not going to work on the ground types. They are immune as we mentioned earlier. Ice Cube however looking to do their part, goes with the Tri Attack onto Mudsdale, gets in some good damage there, but Mudsdale does respond with the Water Shuriken. This multi-hit move does practically nothing to Arctivax. Even after 2 connections you wouldn't know any better, and it only connects 3 times with that not very effective move. And Quagsire going with that Bleak Windstorm. It is avoided by Arctivax, but it does connect there with Ice Cube, lowering its speed in the process. Arctivax, however, able to get out of the way. It responds with the Flower, gets in some chip damage onto Mudsdale, who is now quicker than Ice Cube, and it goes with the Synthesis. Earlier it went for the Moonlight, now the Synthesis, restoring that health. These two on the side of the Magma have been in since the start, but Ice Cube with the Flying Press is finally going to take Quagsire down, who was hanging on for so long with such little health. And that electricity does disappear from the field as now out for the Magma. It is going to be Gastrodon, but Arctivax now with the speed control goes for the Blizzard, super effective onto Mudsdale, that part water type, and prevents it from being super effective onto Gastrodon, who responds with the tackle onto Arctivax. Mudsdale with the follow-up goes with the Healing Wish. Well, I guess Quagsire is going to be here anymore. That is insane to think, but Ice Cube could capitalize here, going with the Magic Powder. It is going to change Gastrodon into a Psychic type, so it is no longer quad weak to Grass type moves, and out comes Golok with that No Guard ability. We get the Psych Up from Arctivax, and it copies the stat changes of Gastrodon. Not that I believe there's been any yet, and this allows the Thunderclap from Golok, but that is going to fail. Gastrodon, however, looking to do their part, does go for the Fake Tears onto Ice Cube. That is going to greatly lower its special defense, having earlier gone with that Amnesia boost. It is now setting up for the Solar Blade. It is going to absorb the light, similar to how we saw that Solar Beam earlier. It's the Power Trip from Arctivax onto Golok, super effective, gets in some good chip damage there, as Golok now going to chow down on its Enigma Berry after taking super effective damage, getting itself back to full strength, and it is going to respond with the Tachyon Cutter, and it only needs to connect 1 time with its own super effective move, thanks to that critical hit as well, just for added damage to ensure it takes Arctivax off the field. And Gastrodon with the follow-up goes with the Imprison. The seal has been set, and there are only only 2 Pokemon remaining for the Explorers, but that will not stop the Solar Blade from being finished off by Ice Cube to take Golurk out from full strength. It had already taken damage, but that is practically a one-hit wonder. As out in its place is Palossand. The last Pokemon for the Explorers is Crabominable. Gastrodon tries for that Dark Void, but once again that Dark Presence stops that from being able to happen. But what is also stopped is that struggle is caused onto, Crabominable, as I am losing my words. The Magma in full control, the Giga Impact from Palossand onto Ice Cube, whose Ice Face has now become its Nice Face, and it is also going to be left here to struggle. They need to focus in onto Gastrodon. They have quite a lot of offensive power. They could take it out in one more turn. They just have to get Gastrodon off this field, who is about to chow down on its own barrier. It is going to boost that special defense. However, Crabominable still with no moves left. Ice Cube, now the quickest on the field, goes for Palossand. It has made a huge mistake. It has been eliminated from this match. This allows Gastrodon to go with the Hydro Pump, but this is avoided by Crabominable, who does have an opportunity to take Gastrodon out of this match, but it also goes for Palossand, taking that recoil damage. This is fantastic for the Magma. They are in full control, as Palossand does have to recharge Gastrodon. Going with the Fury Cutter does not get that much damage, though, with that not very effective move onto the Part Fighting type, who responds, still going with that struggle, but still going for Palossand. This is fantastic for the Magma, but even though it's practically off screen, Crabominable does have its Staff Barrier to boost that physical attack. Palossand goes with the Rock Slide, though, to ensure it is eliminated from this match. The Magma in control from the start, but that Imprison sealed the fate of the Mahogany Explorers and got the Viridian Magma their 3rd win of the season, moving them back into 2nd place, as next round they are going up against the Pseudopolis Aqua, whereas for the Explorers they have dropped all the way to 18th. They need to regroup next round as they have their bye, but once they come back they are going up against the Verbank Plasma. But until then, Nidorinas and Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I'll see you when you see me.